We played well early, and I thought that I was concerned going in without Tyler because he's been such a good, solid inside presence for us. I thought Horace Spencer really stepped up early in that game and gave us some inside offense, was a physical presence defensively. He's been playing better the last month, 3 weeks, and it's good to see, and it's been required. And then having T.J. Dunnan's back gives us a guard that can create, is a guy that instinctively makes others better because he's a willing passer and he understands spacing and he's got some abilities, his length, break the defense down. And so the timing of his return, I think, puts us in a position where we're able to kind of conjure up some more competitiveness. How many victories that leads to, I don't know. It was good enough to beat Georgia at home. The schedule gets tougher, I think. The last 3 regular season games at Alabama, home against the Texas A&M, and then at Mississippi State, who's probably playing playing very well. And I thought at Mississippi State in the preseason, I was telling a lot of my buddies that don't sleep on those guys. It's just taking them a little while to get there. But we've got 8 guys now that can play, and that gives us a fighting chance. Alabama, when I was getting ready for the Kentucky-Alabama weekend, I looked at both teams a little bit, and I liked our matchup against Kentucky better, simply because of what they do offensively, the tempo that they would play at. Kentucky likes to get up and down a little bit more than Alabama does. And, so you really have to value possessions with Alabama because they value theirs. Obasahan is a one-man wrecking crew. He's just he's a great player, tough kid. I hear he's a great kid too. Got God first and he got his priorities right, and he's put them on his back and put them in position. And they've got a very strong supporting cast. They play great defense. They're solid, and offensively, the stuff they run's hard to guard. So it'll be a challenge for us at Coleman Coliseum, but one that we're looking forward to.
Tyler's situation.
I'd say Tyler's likely, maybe probable. He expects to practice today. Now, if he has any symptoms, and he could, then there's a chance he won't play tomorrow. So he's not on for tomorrow, but he's on for practice today underneath that same protocol. So if he can get through some running and some pounding, and he did a little bit yesterday, so we'll see how he does today, then I'd say let's just say probably.
How much better is Alabama since the first time you guys played?
I think, and I said after the game, I think Alabama will look back at that. We played really well, and they did not have one of their best nights, and I don't know how much we had to do with it. I'm not so sure that we had a lot to do with it. Great environment at Auburn Arena. And I think one of the things that you can look at with the rivalry is that the state of basketball in the state of Alabama, I think, is better. Look at UAB and their run, and I'm really rooting for those guys to win that league and get to the NCAA tournament and advance in the tournament. Jared does an outstanding job, and gosh, they're good. They're not a team you're going to want to match up with. They proved it last year. Avery's got them knocking on the door of the NCAA tournament right now. And our program's made progress. So it'll be a great environment up there.
Bruce, how do you view a possible spoiler role for teams trying to get in the NCAAs and you trying to knock them out?
Well, the only reason why you'd ever even talk about a spoiler is because of the rivalry. That's the only reason. If it was any other team,
it's the A&M game at home here. You're not talking
no,
about
like last year when we beat A&M in the SEC tournament, they said that game knocked A&M out of the tournament. I'm glad we won, but I would have loved to have seen A&M get the tournament. I want more teams from the league to get in the tournament. So I'm not, but it's Alabama. It is Alabama. It's different. It's a rival. And so we won't focus on the spoiler aspect of it. What we're going to focus on is, with 8 guys now, can we get to be playing our best basketball? That's the question. Like now, we have enough pieces to be competitive. And that's a good thing. Prior to Dunnan's, we were missing such a huge, just one ball handling guard, not 2, just one. And so when you play against Tennessee, at Tennessee or Vanderbilt, or there were a couple of games there we weren't competitive. Didn't quit. Shoot 65% from 3 and beat Arkansas without a point guard. But now we've got a little bit more to work with. So our focus is not spoiler. Our focus is, can we beat an NCAA tournament team on the road? Let's go see if we can do that.
If Tyler can play tomorrow, do you still consider playing Jordan at the 4, given how effective he was?
Great question. I think he'll play both. I think if we get Tyler back, I would say that he would take a lot of, he and Horace will play inside, and Jordan will get a rotation or 2 at the 4 where he may not have prior to how well he played against Georgia, so he can play both. But we got 8 guys.
How you talk about these guys that never quit? How hard is it for a player when things change so much over the course of the season? Guys are gone. How difficult is it?
I would imagine it would be akin to an offensive line and moving guys around on the offensive line. I've never talked to an offensive line coach about that, but I would, because they talk about that all the time. The differences in the chemistry of those 5 guys working together. How many different roles have we asked Simeon Bowers to play? He's played 1, 4, and 5. How many different roles have we asked Tyler to play? Jordan Granger goes from power forward to small forward. There's an enormous difference between power forward and small forward. We run a 3-guard system. So as a result, you just don't get any continuity. You don't get any growth. Teams that are trying to play their best basketball at the end of the season don't have that right now. You're still trying to chisel out roles in late February. That's not the time to be doing that. But because of all the moving targets. And again, I've said it many, many times. I'm going to try to advance this discussion with the SEC and see if we can get it on the docket. Women's college basketball has 15 scholarships. Men have 13. If you look at and maybe you can ask Chuck Galena to do this, our SID. Historically, prior to my arrival at Auburn, because of the depth issues here, I have averaged 10 players playing double-digit minutes throughout my career. If you have 13 guys on scholarship, that means 3 guys aren't averaging double-digit minutes. Well, what are they doing? Let's say one guy wants to redshirt. Let's say one guy has to redshirt. Let's say one guy's injured. We're down at 10 now. And it just doesn't take you very long to get to 10. And so I would love to see us get to the point where maybe we could get up to 15 scholarships. I think it would be much fairer. Too many teams around the country are playing way too short-handed. And it's not fair to student athletes. It's not fair to Simeon Bowers, Tyler Harris, and Jordan Granger.
How will it benefit you next year that a lot of these guys have played a lot more probably than they would have and played all these different roles, and when you got everybody back out there?
It'll benefit us. The biggest thing that'll benefit us in the next year is I will finally return a lot of players.
Right.
We returned Simeon, Jordan, T.J. Lang. Because Taj really didn't return. Devin Waddell was a walk-on. We returned maybe 3 guys, 4 guys maybe. There's no carryover there to any kind of foundation being built. This was our first freshman class since I've been here. Really our first freshman class. T.J. Lang came in last year, but this is our first real recruiting class. It's a good class. Next year's a good class. The following year looks like it's going to just be a good class. And that's how we build it.
Bruce, were you surprised at how aggressive Dunnan's was the other night coming back? It didn't kind of favor anything. He just kind of cut it loose.
I was a little, like, the way he played against Ole Miss was exactly how I would think he would play. Too fast, turned over a little bit, looked really rusty. He looked much better against Georgia. But keep in mind, home, the pace of play, and Alabama will get after us. Alabama will be much more physical. That building will be much more intense. I thought T.J. Dunnins did a really good job at times of, whoa, pull back on those reins. Let's get organized, because we didn't do that against Ole Miss. Will we be able to do that on the road in a really hostile environment? But I was very pleased with T.J., and I'm just glad that he's in good health. And I'm really glad that Tyler's getting closer to being able to play, because that was a pretty substantial hit, and it wouldn't have surprised me at all if he was out for longer than this. So if we get him back Saturday, it's probably sooner than I thought he'd be able to get back.
Bruce, when you go on the recruiting trail, and Avery's new to the league, and new to Alabama, and new to recruiting in this state, do you get a sense that in-state kids specifically are looking at Alabama and Auburn and UAB more, and not trying to look outside the state?
I would venture to say that we have given the in-state players a much better reason to stay home. What I seem to find out, what it seems to me, that there are Alabama families and there are Auburn families, and there are Alabama high schools and Auburn high schools. There aren't as many Auburn high schools as there are Alabama high schools, so it really doesn't matter almost. That stuff is really sort of inbred, and it almost may not matter what I do with this program. I may not be able to get a Bama family to come to Auburn, and he may not be able to get an Auburn family to go to Alabama. Doesn't matter what we do. But the good thing is we're giving the players here a better chance to stay home, and I'd like to try to get the best players in the state to come to Auburn. I would, to play for that name on the front of their jersey. But as I've said before, when Wimp and Sonny were here, it didn't hurt Sonny that Wimp had Alabama going, and it didn't hurt Wimp that Sonny had Auburn going. It just didn't. If they get that thing going, great. It has no effect on me. Or on my ability to get this going.
Thank you.